Should I sing Jingle Bells maybe? We'll wait and TikTok and go from here. Let's see. Come on, YouTube. We're waiting for you. You've been waiting for me. I'm waiting for you. Any day now. Come on. Show me your ad so I can block it. Come on. Let's get it through here. Well, you guys are saying, oh, there you go. Here comes the ad. And we got to wait. Come on. Nubiqua. What is that? All right. Oh, we get another one. We get two ads. All right, you guys are seeing me. There we go. Now I can see me. Hey, what do you know? All right. Happy New Year's Eve, guys. It is the last Saturday of 2023 and the last live stream of 2023. So hope you all had a good holiday week here and hope you have some fun plans for tomorrow. Around here, it's been a fun week, if you will. BBJ was in. She got in on Wednesday and went home this morning. She got home maybe about an hour and a half ago. So that was kind of fun. The interesting part with her whole trip is she got in a car wreck on the 21st and totaled her car. And of course, now with her having to go to or getting accepted to PA school starting in August, and one of the requirements for going to school, by the school, not by us, is that they can't work while going through the program. So all of a sudden, the car that she had all set up to plan to be paid off was totaled. And so we wound up giving her Mrs. P's car so she has something to drive that is safe and reliable and doesn't have car payments. So that was the extent of that. So we're back to the one car household. But hey, these are the types of things that you have to figure out when an SHTF situation happens. And this was a household SHTF. All of a sudden, we're not going to let her career aspirations go down the drain because she doesn't have a car, and again, with what she's going to have to do with school is, on rotation, go to one hospital, go to another hospital, go to another hospital for part of her training, because I guess part of it is classroom and part of it is hands-on when she goes through. So she had to have transportation of some sort and can't take a bus. So that doesn't work. So we had to figure that one out. So that was the plan that we came up with. So that was that excitement. But she got home today and she had fun with getting her Christmas presents. A couple of you guys sent her Christmas presents, which she almost was crying over. She thought that was really nice that you guys did that. So one of you guys sent her a Cash App donation and one sent her a Kroger gift card. So she was very appreciative of that, because if you guys remember us talking about people being able to afford to buy food, me and Mrs. P got her a cooler and filled it with about 50 pounds of meat for her to go home with. And she got home about 7:30 and said it all fit in the freezer. And I'm like, okay, think about putting 50 pounds of meat in your freezer. Could you do it right now with everything that's in there? First thing I said to Mrs. P, I said, that tells you how much she didn't have in her freezer if everything fit. So yeah, the joys of being young again. So she's all set and back to her rigmarole, though she's going to have to come back here probably sometime this week because they've got to get the final on her total. Then she's got to drive back here to pick up the other car, and we'll drop off her rental car here in town, and so that she can drive back. Yeah, so a lot of logistics that we were going through this week between insurance companies and titles and registrations and figuring out how we can do this. So that was kind of crazy, but it was solving a problem, which is what we do, right? Preppers, okay? We face it head on. We don't cry over spilt milk. We go, here's the problem, here's the solution, we get it done. And that's what I did, or me and Mrs. P did. So that was it. The other fun part of this week, this was kind of cool, is a couple of people I served with in the Army, you guys know Brett's here, right? Uh, they flew in, one from California, one from Texas, and spent a few days in here. So we haven't seen each other in 35 years. So got to spend an evening with them. Brett got to spend a lot more time with them, obviously, but I got to spend a few hours with them the other night, in amongst trying to get everything else going that we were doing here with PBJ. And so that was kind of cool. Nice little Christmas present. See people that, you were 19, 20, 21 years old with, and all of a sudden you go, oh, we're all pushing 60 now, So it's kind of fun to catch up and reminisce and see how all each other's lives have changed and what we've done. And that was kind of fun. So that was our holiday week here, which was very enjoyable. So now we will go through New Year's for the next couple of days, and then it'll be time to take down all the decorations. And then 2 weeks, guys, we start planting for the 2024 growing season. I mean, at this point, here we are just before New Year's Eve. If you're growing onions from seed, about time to plant them. If you're going to grow your own sweet potato slips, it's about time to start those too. Okay. So if you're getting ready for it, those are things that you can start doing now for next summer's garden. Give you an idea. And it's going to be worthwhile growing food again next year because the prices ain't coming down. So, but that was it. So just trying to make it through the last couple of days of the year and see what 2024 brings, because 2024 doesn't look like it's going to be any better, and we all know what kind of chaos we're going to see with the election. You guys saw the whole deal with Maine, right? I talked about that. I guess there's now calls for the Maine Secretary of State's impeachment over what she did. Not that I condone this, but I got a kick out of watching liberal heads explode today, because if you guys saw, I think it was Christmas Eve, Marjorie Taylor Greene and somebody else, I forget, got swatted. You know what swatting is, right? It's when somebody calls it a fake police report, says, oh my God, there's an active shooter or something at somebody's house, and the SWAT team comes in and disrupts everything. Alex Jones had it happen a couple of times. Tim Pool's had it happen to him on during a live stream. So it happens, and they hit. Usually this is liberals hitting conservatives, and they're all, oh, this is so funny, it's so cool, it couldn't happen to better person to have their life disrupted. The tables got turned today. And again, I'm not going to say I condone this at all, because it's very illegal to do this. But so somebody swatted the Maine Secretary of State and today. And so she had SWAT team roll up on her house. And of course, the liberal heads are, I can't believe somebody did that. How criminal can they be? And again, I'm listening to this going, why is it so cool? And you think it's so funny when you do it, but when it's done to you, it's, oh my God, we need to throw them in prison for the next 50 years. I mean, these are comments you're seeing in these articles. It's the same thing with the J6 gang. Why is it so terrible? Oh my God, they should be thrown in jail for the rest of their lives. Oh, but those people that were burning down courthouses and police stations in Portland, they had the charges dropped, right? Explain this to me. Yeah, 2024 not going to be fun. So, but as per normal, tomorrow you will get to see how I did on my 2023 predictions. It's kind of interesting. I was working on that before we went live here, and then Monday, New Year's Day, in between football games or halftime or whatever, you can see what I think is going to happen in 2024. So that'll be the low light of your day. So yeah, there you go. Just to keep you on your toes. You can root for touchdowns and rooting for, avoiding nuclear annihilation. All right, let us get into Q&A here. believe it or not, there are no trivia questions tonight. There's no giveaways tonight. It seems like it's been 2 months since we've had the live stream without that. Probably watch 50 people leave right now. But so let's get into Q&A. We will get Q&A all the way through tonight. As per normal, if you've got questions for me, please put them in all caps. Just like every other YouTube channel, just makes it easier for me to quickly scroll through the chat room and see what you guys want to talk about. I wholeheartedly encourage you guys to have conversations amongst yourselves. I don't have all the answers. Okay, somebody might have the answer in the chat room, so pay attention to what's going on there as well. But if you're going to comment in chat and it's not directed to me, please keep it in lowercase. Just makes the live stream move a lot smoother. The only thing I do require is that everybody treat each other civilly here in the chat room. Okay. Engage brain before putting fingers in gear. If you've got something rude to say, go yell at the dog, okay? You're not going to do it here. There aren't second chances. We don't give you warnings. You just go bye-bye. So please treat each other with respect. All right. Let us get to the top here and see what we got going on. Okay. Whoops. There was nope. All right, Linda says, Happy New Year's to everybody, to me and Mrs. P and PBJ and the pups. Yeah, I think pretty much all of them are probably asleep. I wouldn't doubt that PBJ is probably asleep by now, too. Took her bowling last night, so that was fun. It was cosmic bowling night. Nothing like a bunch of little kids running around the bowling alley. Okay. Kid Carlson says, oh, that sucks, but at least she's okay. Yeah, I mean, there was no injuries or whatever, but I mean, again, she's your typical young adult. She had a 2012 Ford Edge, and it was about a 15-mile rear end collision. She was at fault. She had just got the boot off her foot from breaking her foot, and so she did forget to take a shoe, and so she was in her sock and missed the brake pedal. But it was enough to crush the front bumper, bend the hood, bend both quarter panels, bust the radiator, and the shop came back and said $2,500 in parts, $2,500 in labor. Insurance company said that's more than 75% of what the Blue Book value of the car is. Total it. So that was it. But no, there was no injuries. No, everybody was fine. Thank God. Okay. Texas Sass, what's the best way to get flower beds ready? Clean out or leave the dead stuff to compost? It depends on how much you have in there. Okay, how much crap is in it, and how good your soil is. I mean, me personally here, I leave it in the compost because the native soil here is crap. It's mostly red clay and rock. Okay, and I mean, it's like, the one thing that grows great in Tennessee is rocks. You pick all the rocks out of your garden, you go back a week later and there's rocks in your garden. I am a proponent of leaving it into compost, but again, it depends on what you've got in there. If you've got a bunch of oak leaves that aren't shredded, those aren't going to be composted. They'll start to get slimy and everything like that and turn into leaf mold. But leaves take a couple of years to compost if they're whole. If you chop them up, they'll compost a lot faster. Personally, I'd leave them, and then in your flower beds or whatever, just dig all that stuff in the soil as you're planting them. Just let it keep going. Just make sure you don't have black walnut trees. If you got black walnut trees, make sure you clean everything out. Gracie Quinn, you and Mrs. P are really good parents. We try. I mean, that's all you can do as a parent. It's the only thing in the world that comes without an instruction manual. It's a kid, okay? And you do the best you can to the best of your ability. And I mean, y'all know that, Mrs. P is not PBJ's biological mother. And, how good of a parent could I be when I went through that homeless patch? That's tough, but you do what you can when you can to the best of your ability. And I mean, that's it. I love her. She loves me. Mrs. P and her love each other. Everything, that's all good there. we do what we can. I mean, I can't say every person's a good parent because that's not true. Every person has the ability to be a good parent. It's just whether or not they choose to be one. So that's the way I look at it. Kit Carlson again. Hey, gifts like that are great. Yeah, when you're 24 years old, go, hey, Dad's going to make sure you don't have a car payment so you can go through school. Yeah, it's like blood pressure. So, but yeah, I mean, I could see the worry in her face when we got here and the relief in her face when she left. So that was important to me. Smoky Blazer, how's the pond doing? Is it holding up okay? Yeah, I mean, it's doing fine. I've just got to be able to get out there and get this ram pump put in. I've got it built. Uh, I've got the PVC and everything like that to do it. I've just got to get out and crawl through the woods and lay hose and crawl through icy water and lay pipe and get it done. And we'll get water flowing into it. I mean, it'll be a trickle. I mean, but GPM that we're supposed to get, considering the distance and everything I got, is about a gallon a minute, which, okay, doesn't sound like anything great, but when it doesn't rain here for 4 months, that's 0 gallons per day, so if I get a gallon per minute, I'm fine. Fish are still fine. Mrs. P was out feeding them the other day, slow down feeding the fish drastically in the winter, but they still came up, and you could see the little bubbling on the top. Von Mousetrap, God bless you, Mrs. B. Poor BBJ, first a broken foot, now a total car. Yeah, talk about a roller coaster December for her. It's like between breaking her foot, getting accepted to PA school, and totaling a car. It's like, okay, but again, these, like I said, SHTF is not just, oh my God, there's an EMP and we've gone into nuclear Armageddon. They're all levels. And I mean, for her, this was an SHTF situation. Crap, what do I do? And you figure it out. I mean, fortunately, we had a second car. Okay, not everybody does. But if it wouldn't have been for that, we'd have figured something else out. I mean, you can spend your time whining and bitching and crying about a problem, or you can spend your time figuring out how to solve the problem and move on, because it ain't going to go away by itself. Sticking your head in the sand is not going to make it go away. Joe Biden should be obvious. Gee, if I stick my head in the sand, maybe, inflation will go away. No, it didn't work. So go take another vacation, Joe. Not doing anything when you're in the White House anyway. Wendy Cosmo, how convenient for Mrs. P. Now she doesn't have to drive. No, that doesn't work. The only downside is now that means that she has to learn how to drive in my truck, which worries me a little bit, because it's a lot easier to learn to drive in a car than it is in a full-size truck, especially when it comes time for the road test and they go, yeah, we want you to parallel park. And you're going, crap, I got a full-size truck and they want me to squeeze it in there. I'm going, oh my God. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it takes a little bit of the pressure off of her at the moment, because there isn't a second car for me to teach her with. Janet West, that was nice of us to give her a car. Yeah, but you got to do. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, let me give you this. I didn't give her the car. She's borrowing it for 2 years. That's what I told her. I said, when you're done with school, I said, I get the car back. So that was it. But yeah, I mean, cars ain't cheap, right? It's just that was the best solution we had for solving a problem without putting us in debt or putting her into a debt that she couldn't repay. WU, have I heard from people that Colorado is a cashless society? No, Colorado's not a cashless society. So no, I haven't heard anything, and no, there's no truth to that. So a Cushionette Prepper, let's hear my predictions for the new year. You will on New Year's Day. So just like every other year, that's what I tell you what I think is going to happen. Sportsmobile 83. I will agree with you on this one. We need the gallows pole, not the Gallup poll, the gallows poll. Yes. Okay. How many times can we hang Joe Biden, though? That's the problem. You know, I mean, if we had every count of treason that he should be convicted of, you know, that, gee, they have this little thing that Adam Schiff doesn't know the definition of called evidence against Joe Biden. That in a couple of weeks, it's going to be really fun when James Comer comes out and goes, oh, all that evidence you were talking about here. Oh, shit. Yeah, that's going to be, you know, Joe's going to go through the economy size pack of Pampers that day. Flintstone Girl, I bought my first junk silver today. I know you say $1.40 equals 1 ounce. I paid $28 per dollar. Okay, I'm assuming you paid $28 per dollar face. Okay, so $1.40 face value. Right now, spot on that is what silver closed Friday, 23.70 or something like that. So right there, you paid about a $4 premium if you got an ounce, but then you paid an extra. What's it? $1.40. What, 5 out of 7? So then you paid an extra 28% on top of that. You got hosed. Let's put it that way. If you'd have told me you paid $28 for $1.40, I could have kind of said, okay, not terrible, but not good. But $28 for a dollar face, you probably got an average cost of, I don't have a calculator on me. Your cost of silver, you probably need silver to go to $40 an ounce to break even. Just give you that. Chris Sheffield, how do you get rid of aphids on indoor lettuce? I have yellow sticky paper up, still creepy crawlers. You can, I mean, again, the best way to get rid of aphids is to take a piece of tape, you know, some maybe your yellow sticky tape, wrap it around your hand backwards so the sticky side is out, okay? And just start putting your hand under the leaf and push, you know, gently pushing the leaf on there and just getting them to stick on there. I mean, because you're not going to want to introduce a whole bunch, you know, spraying stuff around your house. I mean, I don't know where you get your aphids or your lettuce, if it's on a kitchen windowsill or whatever, you're not going to want to start spraying stuff around the house. Let's get in there with some two-sided tape or some tape that's backwards on your hand and do it that way. Soul Reaper, I saw one video by Clayton Morris today explaining how they plan on canceling the election. I mean, there's a whole bunch of speculation on that. I mean, I know a lot of people, we've said for a year, there's not going to be an election. When I start seeing things in motion about there not being an election, then I'll take it seriously. But as of right now, it's just all speculation. You know, so, I mean, again, remember this, guys. We had elections during the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. We still had elections during all of them, okay? And it's going to take something seriously big to not be elections, which my opinion, if we don't have elections, it's going to be a complete transformation of, that if we don't have elections, tear up the Constitution. Okay, because the United States no longer exists. Could it happen? Yeah. Okay. I mean, you guys know me. I'm still convinced we are on a path to balkanization, and probably we are on a path to a civil war. Leo Miranda, thank you for the super chat. Happy New Year and your wonderful family. Here's a small contribution for Mrs. P's Pond Fish and Wildlife Feeding Fund. That's good. I like that. $10 should probably cover about 2 weeks in the winter with her and bird food. Though she's been doing good this year, I will give her. It's not like every other week. She's like, I need more sunflower seeds. I'm like, no. All right. But thank you. That was funny. Good. I needed the smile. We just shot to the bottom, so I got to get back up here. Oh, I know somebody's going to ask this because somebody asks this all the time. Yes, I got out with the bow and arrow this week. And just so you guys know, I suck. Okay. Trying, but I never hit the target. We probably shot for about a half an hour. Never hit the target once. Got one of those targets. It's 18 inches square. Never hit it once. Like anything else, takes practice. Okay. So I will continue to practice. Got to go buy new arrows though. Lost one, broke three. I mean, they were just cheap arrows, to get for what, a buck and a half or something like that. But got to get used to doing it. But I did get out and do it. Okay, finding where I am. Okay, Brody, what oxygen absorbers do you recommend for 5-gallon buckets? Well, you're going by the CC. Brand doesn't make a difference. Okay, whichever one you care, but you need to go by the CC and then buy what you are packaging. You're going to use a different oxygen absorber for, say, oatmeal than you would for, I don't know what the hell is powdered milk or something like that, because again, think of the size of what you're putting in. Powdered milk is very much a powder. So, I mean, it's a lot closer. There's a lot less airspace. So as you're putting it in the bucket and tamping it down, okay, you're releasing a lot of the oxygen there. Oatmeal is a lot bigger, so you have a lot more air pockets. So you're going to need more capacity in your O2 absorbers to get rid of all the oxygen for something like that. So I can't tell you what one you're going to need. It depends on what kind of product you're trying to get the oxygen out of. But if you're asking about what brand, I don't care. One brand's no different than the others. Thomas Saiban, do I think anything will happen at Times Square tomorrow night? Probably. I mean, again, we have to remember that the security at Times Square for New Year's is, ridiculous. There's 1 million people in Times Square. 500,000 of them are cops. I'm kidding, but it's ridiculous how much police presence there is for events like that in New York City. What I will say is, don't necessarily think it's going to be at Times Square. Who's to say that the event, because it would not surprise me one bit that we see some sort of event tomorrow, let's say on the GW Bridge or something like that. It doesn't have to be right there in Times Square. You do anything around New York City, do it in Hoboken. You're still going to scare the crap out of everybody in New York. Okay. And, who knows? Was it Catherine Herridge the other day? Used to be on Fox. I think she's on CBS now. Was being interviewed, and she's like, "Okay, expect a Black Swan event in 2024." I think that's the easiest guess in the world, and they were crucifying her. How could you say something like that? I'm like, how could you not think so? You got Russia, Ukraine going on. You got Hamas, Israel going on. Inevitably, China, Taiwan's coming on. Then you got Biden, Trump. You don't think there's going to be somebody pissed off? Yeah, there is. Smoke and Swamp Outdoors, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for all you do. Here's to some new arrows. Thanks, brother. And Jan Boker, thank you for the super sticker. I'm thinking maybe that is. Maybe it's a super chat, but thank you as well. Appreciate it from both of you guys. Prayerful EA, what are my thoughts about alleged terrorist attacks over this New Year's? Okay, I guess I just kind of answered the same question there. It's not going to, I'm not saying there's going to be. It wouldn't surprise me if there isn't. Because you think about all the New Year's celebrations where you have, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people gathering together. Okay? You've got all the football games, all the bowl games that are going on this weekend. There's a lot of places where there are a lot of people congregated. And like I said, it doesn't have to be in the Orange Bowl or at the Las Vegas fireworks show or something. All it's got to be is somewhat nearby. And that would be enough to freak everybody out. I mean, again, think about something like, think about 9/11. Let's use that as an example. Okay. We had planes in New York, DC, and Pennsylvania, all up there in the Northeast corridor. But we canceled the air or closed the airspace throughout the entire country of the United States. Okay. A flight from San Francisco to LA, nothing happened. It was 3,000 miles away, But it's the reason why they are called terrorists and not murderers. Yeah, terrorists kill people. Okay. But their objective is to scare the crap out of everybody. And that's what they'll try to do. I mean, and they don't even have to do it with a Zanayev pressure cooker bomb or anything, or a Timothy McVeigh blow up a federal building. They don't even have to do it something like that. You get these little things, these guys that are sending white powder to congressmen. Look what happens when that happens. They'll close down the halls of Congress for something like that. So, depending on the scope. But my guess is, especially with the southern border being wide open, we're going to see quite a few events in 2024. James Starkey, do I think that they will keep the stock market high so that it crashes under Trump when he wins? See, the thing is this, and I've talked about this before, the stock market doesn't trade on fundamentals anymore. The stock market it's become a huge casino. Now, if I go back to when I was a broker, and this was, the things like Ameritrade and, I can't even remember some of the other ones, the online trading accounts were just in their infancy. Okay, this is back in the day when everybody wanted to buy Fidelity Magellan Fund because, oh my God, it outperformed everything for 1 year. Okay, but back then, if somebody wanted to buy stock, they had to pay the broker, or brokerage firm at least, a commission, and that toned down a little bit of the craziness. Okay, I didn't have clients going at 8:30 in the morning, buy Microsoft, and 8:45 going, okay, it's up 2 cents, sell my Microsoft. No, because they had a premium, a commission charge, just like you're buying gold and silver, right? There was a charge in there. So it kept Joe Public, most of them, from day trading, from trying to, I'm up 10 cents, I bought 100 shares. So, hey, cool. You know what? I'm up $10. And they'd sell. That's what they do now. It's like the college kids or whatever think, hey, they've got their money from mom and dad in their account. I need beer money for the week. Oh, go buy Amazon, wait for it to go up 10 cents or whatever it is, get your beer money for tonight, because it's a zero commission stuff. And so that allows people to take more risk, kind of what I was talking about this morning, at a faster pace. So a lot of what you see in the markets right now, the reason it's artificially inflated is not because those are people that are investing in those companies. It's because of the volatility. The people are putting money in and it's gone by the end of the day or the end of the week or whatever, and the market's trying to keep up. Sure, the Fed is artificially inflating the market, but where you will see the market crash is not because of Trump being elected or whatever. It's going to be just like everything else. It's going to, how did I go bankrupt? First slowly and then all of a sudden. Okay, market's going to do the same thing. It goes off a cliff. It slides down a little bit and then falls. And that's what we'll see when the market goes. It's not going to be 200 points a day for 50 straight days. It's going to be 200 points today, 300 points tomorrow, 500 points the next day, 1,000 points the next day, 2,000 points the next day, and everybody's going, holy crap, how's the market down 15% in a week? Okay. and then it's going to keep going. Chris Walker, pinball. My feelings on the Illinois gun ban starting the first. Unconstitutional. So, I mean, and we've talked about this in many topics before. This is exactly what happens is, and the liberals know it. They make a crazy law knowing it's unconstitutional, but knowing it's got to go through the federal court, then the appeals court, then by the time the Supreme Court picks it up, usually it's somewhere between 9 and 18 months, okay? And by then, all the changes have been made in the back. The gun stores have closed, you know, and, you know, they put places out of business. And oh, it's unconstitutional. Okay, we'll take it off the books. And it's not like the guy who owned the gun store goes, good, turn the lights back on. Let's go. He's out of business. Okay. So they get what they want. They know how to play the system like that. They do it with all sorts of crazy stuff. I mean, this gender pronoun crap, the abortion issue, whatever, you know, they make all these laws that are unconstitutional and know by the time it gets through adjudication that the damage is already done. You know, they've already managed to change the system to meet their tyrannical goal. Michael, what branch of service was I in and what year? I was in the Army comms from 86 to 89. Okay, so we were in at the same time. I was active duty from 85 to 89, and I was reserve from 89 to 93. Tony Lawrence, pinball. Do I watch Dan Bongino? Occasionally. I mean, I watch Alex Jones occasionally. I watch the Dan Bongino or Tim Pool occasionally. The Hodge twins, I watch them occasionally. I'm not, you know, there's a lot of different things to watch. I go through and see what they're talking about every day. And if it's interesting to me, I'll watch. I mean, I don't watch Tucker Carlson every time he comes on with something either. It's like if the topic that he's talking about is of interest to me, I'll watch it. If it's not, I don't care, you know, or maybe I'm only collecting bits and pieces of it. Because, you know, just like you, sometimes I talk about something that you have no interest in watching. So you don't, okay? Other times I'm talking about something that you do. And that's how we all should be. If the top, like I've said, take what's important, leave the rest, okay? You know, if I'm talking about how to plant sweet potatoes and you live on the 82nd floor in an apartment building, probably not a video you're going to spend time watching. Yeah, and I get it. A Cushnet prepper. How am I doing with my ham radio license? Slowly but surely. But the problem is I get through all the modules and I go back to the beginning and I take the quizzes and I'm like, crap, I forgot. So I keep studying this. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that say if you just focus on it and you get down and you spend 10 hours a day over, you know, 2 days in a weekend, you'll have it all in short-term memory. I don't want it in short-term memory. I want to know it. Okay. I don't want, my goal isn't to pass the test. My goal is to know what I'm supposed to do. So, but I keep studying. I get a couple hours a week in there, you know, when I'm up early in the morning after, if I have an easy morning, you know, where it's like, you know, there's some days, you know, you guys see my videos up somewhere between 6 and 7:30. You always know if it's up late, one of two things happened. Either I overslept or it was a very difficult morning to do the research that I needed to do. Sometimes a video is easy to come to me. And other times there's a whole bunch of stuff I have to look up and do whatever. So when I get those easy mornings, that's when I get a chance to study for my ham license, pay the bills, work on my budget, or whatever, things like that, you know, because then once Mrs. P gets up, then it's our day is going and okay, what are we doing? And then she's making breakfast and I'm recording the lunch video and, you know, then we're doing whatever we got to do. Tommy Z, pinball, how do you validate gold purity in SHTF quickly? Okay, there's numerous ways. And I mean, I know some people say do the acid test. If anybody tried to drop acid on one of my gold bars or something like that, they'd be in a world of shit. The ping test is probably the easiest. There is a another testing apparatus, I guess, if you will. It kind of looks like a ruler. Remember the old 12-inch rulers that we had when we were a kid, plastic and 3 little holes in it so you could put it in your 3-ring binder. God, I'm dating myself. There's a little one. It's got places where for specific coins, it'd be like gold eagles and maple leafs and Krugerrands and buffaloes, you put it here and this is the thickness. You can put it here and this is the diameter, for certain coins, that's a way to do it. One of the easiest ways to do it, first off, is with a small scale to check weight. Okay. 1 troy ounce of gold is going to weigh, guys, 1 troy ounce. It's not going to weigh 0.94. It's not going to weigh 1.06. It's going to weigh 1. There's not bullion dealers out there going, that's gold. It's close enough. Who cares? Okay. But the ping test is something real easy. There's actually an app on your phone that you can get that your phone will listen. You hold the gold coin. It looks like it's in between a clothespin, if you will. You tap on it and it'll make a ring. You know how that sounds? And your phone, there's an app, I've got it on my phone. I think it's called Ping Coin. Will hear that tone that the ring makes and it'll identify, oh, that's a Krugerrand. Oh, that's a maple leaf. Oh, that's just just a gold bar or whatever it would be. But you can, or not gold bar, but gold coin. But there are relatively easy ways to do it that you don't have to go out and buy some $1,000 piece of equipment, which obviously most of us aren't going to buy. Okay. But those are the inexpensive ones. I think I did a video on that maybe about 9 months ago on how to do it. Those would be the suggestions how to do that. Definitely P. Can your onion seeds be started without grow lights? Any seed can be started without grow lights. Okay. It's once they break the ground, that's when they need the light. Okay. God, maybe if somebody will remember this, when we were kids, there used to be, and you remember how we used to get toys in the cereal box or whatever it is. And I just remember when you got this little, it was probably no bigger than that. It was a little trapezoidal piece of plastic, that had a sponge in the middle. And you put the sponge, you got the sponge wet, you put it down, you sprinkled your seeds on, you put the top of the trapezoidal thing on it, and then it told you to stick it in the cabinet, in a dark place. Go back 3, 4, 5 days later, whatever kind of seeds you had, and then you'd have your sprouts. Okay. So yeah, seeds don't need light to sprout. It's once they have sprouted, then you're going to need light. Onions, because of the way you grow onions, if you've got a south or east facing window, that should be plenty. Just sprout, like I said, if you get trying to think so. Okay, let's see, like a butter dish. Okay, you know how you get the butter dish, you put the cover on the butter dish so it's 1.5 inches, 2 inches deep or whatever it is. If you turn that over and fill that with soil and sprinkled a whole bunch of onion seeds in it, that would be enough to probably get you 50, 60 onion plants in that little butter dish top. Put that on the windowsill and you're fine. Let the onions grow. They get up to about 3 or 4 inches. Trim them down a little bit. You hear about everybody giving onions a haircut. Okay. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to get them to be stiff. You don't want them like grass and real thin. Okay. You're trying to get them to expand. So if you keep cutting them to maybe 2 inches, 3 inches, those roots will be growing. So that's kind of how you want to do that for onion seeds. But no, you don't need grow lights. Ed Kirkpatrick, Ukraine just hit another major city in Russia. Is the war fixing to get super hot? I think what it is Ukraine is on last gasps of air because the money runs out tomorrow from the West and Ukraine is trying to go, oh my God, look, we're actually doing better. We're actually getting something done. Can you give us more? Because, Zelensky's just a beggar. they're going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at Russia right now because they know if they don't win now, if they don't win fast now, they're going to lose slow in 2024. JB Preps, Happy New Year, Pinball. Did my grow zone get changed? Yeah, I think they changed me from 6B to 7A. I mean, again, it's not like anybody's going, oh my God, that changes. You know, they changed us from 6B to 7A, postpone everything for 2 weeks. No, that's a, how do I say this? The grow zone is a generalistic idea of what you can do, okay? Because I will tell you this, the growing conditions for Mr. and Mrs. Mountaintop Preps are completely different than the growing conditions for me, because they're on the top of the mountain, I'm on the bottom of the mountain. You know, there's probably at least 500 feet, if not more, difference in elevation, okay? They get a lot more wind than we do. So the growing conditions are totally different. And what I mean, it's funny because we'll talk, you know, obviously, and they may have a great year with the crop, and I may have a crap year with the exact same crop, and sometimes from the exact same seeds. And it worked well for him and didn't work for me, or vice versa. Now, some of that's due to climate, some of it's due to soil, some of it's due to sunlight, some of it's due to moisture, some of it's due to wind. A grow zone is a basis to start with, but you go, okay, I grow differently in Miami than I do in International Falls. Yeah, that's probably a pretty good guess. But what you need to do is you need to keep records for yourself each year of when I started my seeds, when I put them in the ground, when I harvested, you know, what was the quality of my harvest? You know, like I told you guys about last year, those cabbages that we started as the test that we started in January gave me huge heads of great cabbage. That was started 3 months before my official time I should plant cabbage. Well, the ones we started at the official time based on my grow zone were smaller heads in the same garden. I mean, they were planted all literally next to each other. You know, just I had 5 rows of cabbage or whatever it would be. First row was the January ones. The rest of them were the April ones. The April ones, by the time they were done, were smaller because it had gotten warmer. They had more bug damage to it. I had slugs, I had snails, I had cabbage worms that I had to treat for. The ones that I did in January, which was completely against what the Farmer's Almanac says when I should plant them, were beautiful. So I'm planting this year based on what worked for me, not what somebody says I need to do based on my grow zone. Dash Micro Homestead. What do I think about replacement theory? Anybody who thinks that's a theory is an idiot. The great replacement fact, okay? And I'll give you this. This number just, for the first time ever, crushed. We have more immigrants coming into the United States because of Joe's, welcome all illegals. We have more immigrants coming into the United States, illegal and legal, than we have kids being born in the United States every day. That's the great replacement. And I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, maybe. The reason that they are doing this, nobody will talk about this, but the reason is obvious if you take a look at it, is Washington robbed Social Security 50 years ago. They took all this money from the Social Security Trust Fund, they put it into the general fund, and the Democrats spent it in the 70s. And so ever since then, Social Security's been a Ponzi scheme. That the young generation, say PBJ, has to go to work, and the money that she pays out of her paycheck into Social Security is the money they use to pay me when I start collecting Social Security. Okay? That's how it's going to work. And so they figure, okay, When PBJ wants to collect Social Security, her kids will pay into, or grandkids either way, will be the ones paying in to pay her. Except the problem we have is people aren't having kids. We're now down to where we used to be 2.5 kids. We're now down around 1.5 kids. Maybe it's 1.4 is the average household family now. Okay. So we don't have enough people being born to be in the workforce going forward to pay the people that need to collect the Social Security. Because when they tell you, oh, I'm sorry, you paid into Social Security for 40 years, there's no money to pay you, we're going to have problems. Okay. And the politicians know this. And we're at that point now. So they need new people to pay into the fund so they can cover their butt and kick the can down the road to the next generation of politicians who maybe will have to do the same thing. That's what the great replacement theory is. Okay. It's not this, oh gee, there's going to be no more whites, there's going to be no more blacks, the US is going to be primarily a mulatto population. No, that's not what it is. Again, like everything else, it all comes down to money and power. And Washington knows if they can't pay the money that they've promised, they're going to lose their power. That's the great replacement theory. That's it. Go dig into it and you'll find out that's exactly what it is. There aren't enough people to support, there aren't enough young people to support the needs of the older people. Teresa Ellis says, am I reading 23 predictions? I have no idea what 23 predictions is. So, Knucklebuster, would I be willing to give away tobacco seed again this year? I have plenty. Knucklebuster, what I'll tell you to do to make my life easier and just so you can connect with everybody, go onto my page on the freesteading and start a thread under my page there saying anybody wants tobacco seeds, and that way they can contact you directly and I don't have to play middleman with all that. Okay. Susan Musser, glad the meat fit in PBJ's freezer. We scored 40 pounds of chicken leg quarters for 35 cents a pound. That's cool. 2 years ago around here it was 39 cents a pound. Now it's 69 cents a pound. So yeah, finding it for 35 cents a pound, more power to you. Okay, there we go. Mouth gets dry talking for an hour. Susan M1224, can I recommend a type of sheeting or covering to use as greenhouse? Simply go on Amazon. The plastic that I used for the workbench greenhouse I made, I bought a roll of it on Amazon. It's good, thicker plastic. Okay, it's not like a kitchen garbage bag or something like that. You want a thicker plastic to you because not only do you want to let the light in, but you also want a little bit of the insulation factor of that plastic as well to keep the heat in. But just go on Amazon and look for greenhouse plastic and you'll find it. I'd say, I don't want to say the thicker the better because eventually it gets rigid. But go for the quality stuff rather than buy the cheap stuff and it lasts 1 year. Buy the quality stuff and have it last 4 or 5. Because again, as a prepper, this. In a year, you may not be able to get it. If you get something now that lasts 4 or 5 years, you got 4 or 5 years. If your plan is, I'll save some money and buy it again next year. If you can't get it next year, you're screwed. Silver and gold 83. What are my, or gold and silver actually? What are my gold and silver predictions for 2024? I will talk about that on Monday morning. Buford Gardner, any snow in my weather? Yes, actually it snowed. We had flurries down here yesterday morning, then a little bit yesterday afternoon, and again this afternoon. I mean, real light flurries here. Last night, like I said, PBJ and I went bowling, and so we had to go up to Harriet, which you guys have no idea, but that's basically the Tennessee-Kentucky border. Okay. And when we got out of the bowling alley about 10:30, it was snowing. I mean, it was snow. It wasn't sticking. The ground isn't cold enough here for it to stick. But I mean, it was snowing where I had to have the windshield wipers running, not intermittent. I mean, they were running normal speed. It was snowing good. So, but again, I've told you guys around here, you know, if you want to play in the snow out here, make sure you do it before 8 o'clock in the morning, because by lunch everything's melted. I mean, I've only seen one day, and this is our fifth winter here, one day where the snow was still there at the end of the day. Gracie Quinn, do I think the former president is such a threat that his life could be endangered? Oh, hell. I mean, you've had many liberals, I mean, media, politicians and talking heads in the media let it slip about assassination plots. And go read the comments under articles on Fox or Breitbart or Newsmax or anything like that. The liberals that are in there, they'll subliminally talk about it, about how they're hoping for an assassination attempt on Trump. Okay. Would it surprise me if that's one of the black swan events that happens in 2024? I'm almost betting that there's going to be an attempt on his life. Okay. That's how unhinged the liberals are. And again, I will remind everybody of this one because the media won't tell you this. 91% of mass shootings in the United States are committed by liberals. Okay. They don't like to tell you that. But yeah, 91%. Those are FBI figures. Diana K, have I ever saved seed from my onion plants? No, because onions are biennials. Means they produce an onion one year, they produce the seed next year. I don't leave them go. So no, I don't try to save my own onion seeds. Mary Marks picked 2 gallons of carrots today. Surprise me. Please tell me how you did it. I'm going to try. I think the carrots we're going to do this year are called New Corona. I think is what the type is. That I done some research on. It's supposed to grow here, and then one of y'all who lives up here in Tazewell, which is half an hour from me, said that they've had success growing those here. So I'm hopeful, but I will try again for my carrots. So I'm on a mission. Tony DG, we haven't gotten a freeze. Is my garlic going to be okay? Garlic's going to be fine. I live in Tennessee. Chances of us getting a hard freeze, not often, okay? I mean, our average winter temperature here is 40. Garlic's fine. I mean, my garlic's probably 6 inches high. I saw it when we were up playing bow and arrow yesterday or Friday, I guess it was. Yeah, yesterday. My garlic's about 6 inches, and I was showing it to PBJ. She goes, wow, that looks good. Yeah, doing fine. Don't worry about it. I mean, you're more worried about it freezing, than not freezing. Von Mousetrap, what was Mrs. P's favorite Christmas present? I don't know. She's not here. Favorite one from PBJ. She got a tea she really wanted. I mean, it's in TEA. So that one might have been that. From me, I don't know. There was a dress she wanted. I got that. I bet that was probably it. Susan, thank you for the super sticker. Greatly appreciated. And let's see. Cutie says, any New Year's resolutions? I'm terrible about New Year's resolutions, but my New Year's resolution this year is to get off my blood pressure medicine, to control my blood pressure enough by my diet and my weight that I can get off my blood pressure medicine. That's my goal. Sue N, it's awesome that PBJ chooses to come to our house for Christmas. Yeah, I mean, she's a good kid. Don't ever get me wrong. I mean, and again, I try to be as respectful as I can. I mean, I haven't seen her on Christmas in 15 years, okay? Because my ex's family is big and they're in the same town she is. And I know they all, 20 women all getting together to do Christmas, they have fun. And then she comes here when it fits into her work schedule because she's got to travel to come to me. And we have a nice, casual, small, just Christmas, So yeah, if I've got to wait a couple extra days, hey, I get to extend the holiday, not a big deal. So it's worth it to us. All right, guys, that is 10 o'clock. Y'all have a good evening. If I will see you, well, I won't physically see you, but I will be here tomorrow. But if y'all ain't here tomorrow because you've got New Year's Eve plans, everybody be safe. Be careful on the roads tomorrow, okay? Last thing we want to hear is, because you know how it gets around the prepper community, that somebody had a tragedy. So let's hope we don't have any tragedies, guys. Stay safe. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Pinball out.